Hello, my name is Heather Dalton, and today I present my research project, Survival and Strategy Women's Labor in North Carolina's Urban and Rural Communities in the Great Depression. The central question of this study is how did the Great Depression reshape women's labor in North Carolina's urban and rural settings? And how did household strategies and state economic structure shape these experiences? This question matters because women's labor has often been overlooked in Depression era studies, which tends to focus on unemployment, banks, and industrial collapse. In North Carolina, women worked both in textile mills and service jobs in cities, and in subsistence farming, household management, and food preservation in rural areas. Studying both settings reveals how geography, class, and race shaped women's labor strategies during the same crisis. To answer this question, I used a range of primary sources. Government records from the North Carolina Emergency Relief Administration and home demonstration agents show how agencies documented and supplemented women's work. Oral histories from the Southern Oral History Program and the North Carolina Farm Women's Project provide firsthand accounts. Newspapers like the Charlotte Observer and Raleigh News and Observer, as well as federal surveys and WPA reports, reveal how women's work was publicly represented. Methodologically, I compared urban and rural experiences, combining institutional records with oral testimony to capture both visible and invisible labor, including subsistence and barter economies. My findings show that the Depression reshaped women's work differently depending on geography and race. Urban women in textile mills faced layoffs, reduced hours, and insecurity. They were often the first fired and the last rehired, with black women largely excluded from the mills and pushed into domestic work. Strikes in Gastonia and in 1934 highlighted women as workers and community organizers. In rural areas, farm women faced collapsing crop prices and growing debt. They intensified household labor, canning, sewing, gardening, and bartering in order to survive. Extension agents praised their resourcefulness, but this reinforced gender expectations that women were alone responsible for making do. Black farm women faced even greater hardship navigating exploitative sharecropping system and often being excluded from relief programs. Taken together, these findings reveal two overlapping worlds: an urban wage economy that undervalued women's labor and a rural household economy that relied on women's individual and essential work. Across both, women were expected to stabilize families and communities. In conclusion, understanding women's labor during the Depression requires looking beyond wage statistics. Their contribution occurred in mills, kitchens, gardens, and sewing rooms alike. By comparing urban and rural experiences, this project shows how geography, race, and economic structure shaped women's survival strategies, and recognizing their labor gives us a fuller, more accurate picture and understanding of the Depression era. Thank you.